I was performing with Kristen Chenoweth at her show. The text is so good. The script is so fantastic. This meet cute is a very surprising one. Hello, do I know you? My petticoats and corsets and hats. It's the dream that I didn't know I needed to dream.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Heart in Motion podcast. I'm so excited to be talking with Ginna Claire Mason today. Hi, Ginna Claire.
Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk about your new movie that comes out this weekend. It's coming out on Hallmark. It's also coming out on the W Network, A Newport Christmas, which will be airing on Sunday night on both of those networks, 8, 7 Central. And then those that have Hallmark Plus can watch it on Monday morning. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. We've had like a really lovely pre-chat already. I feel like we should have started recording right away. It's coffee and a good hang, a good early morning hang, right, Stephanie?
There we go. We needed that to get revved up and ready to go, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you've had such a fantastic, rich background in theater, and I'm really curious. I know that over the last few years, you've kind of moved into that Hallmark realm. So can you tell us about how that experience has shaped the way that you approach leading roles in Hallmark?
That's so interesting. I saw the original cast of Wicked when I was a kid, and they just celebrated their 22nd anniversary yesterday. And since the time that I saw it, that was my dream role. I was like, that's what I want to do. Kristen Chenoweth sort of inspired it all, the bubble, the gowns, the singing, and sort of over the years, the things that I loved about Glinda shifted, less so her costumes and more so her depth and her dynamic journey and her heart filled with compassion. And I feel like in a lot of ways, especially because I've played the role on and off for the last 10 years, which is crazy. I was standing by there just in January. So I got to grow up with her. And Hallmark has been this sort of really special surprise. It's the dream that I didn't know I needed to dream that has now come true. I actually auditioned for my first Hallmark movie when I was playing Glinda on Broadway. It was right after the pandemic. Shows had just reopened. We had been shut down for 18 months. I had a 4-month-old when we reopened, which was insane and exciting and special and felt like being sort of the Broadway baby mama I always wanted to be. There's actually a literal secret group called Broadway Baby Mamas with all the Broadway moms, by the way. Like Audra McDonald is in the group, Kelly O'Hara. It's very cool. Anyways, back to the point. We got to perform on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade that year, which was super sweet and a dream come true for me. The Rockettes performed right before us. I had seen the Rockettes as a kid and loved the Rockettes and grew up dancing and thought I wasn't tall enough to be a Rockette. And so that was sort of a dream that evaded me. They have since changed their height requirements. I think it used to be 5'7" to 5'9". And now it's 5'5" to 6 foot. So I actually am within range now. But I remember walking out of Macy's as they were walking in and sort of feeling like you were walking amongst goddesses. I mean, they are just divine. And don't for a second think that those women aren't the most remarkable athletes you've ever seen in your life. I truly was blown away working with them. But I'm getting ahead of myself. A couple weeks later, I got this audition to go in for a holiday spectacular. Yeah. It was amazing. It's my cup of tea. It's a timepiece. It's set in the late 1950s, and that's sort of the era that I feel like I was supposed to be alive in because I love Doris Day, etc. And the golden age of musicals. Like I can't believe I'll never get to work with Rodgers and Hammerstein. Maybe someday in heaven. So I auditioned. I filmed my self-tape actually backstage at the Gershwin between shows on a Saturday and was even like, hey, I'm just a couple avenues down from Radio City, and sent that in, ended up doing a callback and got the part. And just a couple weeks later, I'm on stage dancing with the Rockettes at Radio City, which was just a crazy full circle moment for me. And there was even a week in there, Stephanie, that I was filming during the day at Radio City, walking 2 avenues, picking up a salad along the way, like pinching myself every step, and then playing Glinda at night.
What an amazing story.
And that was cuckoo. But I don't think I've actually answered your question yet. So film and theater are both storytelling mediums, and so is podcasting. I think we were all sort of created to be storytellers, and we have these different avenues through which we achieve that. So theater is a very specific storytelling medium, right? And being able to play live to sometimes thousands of people or a small audience. And the Gershwin is the largest theater or the largest Broadway theater in New York. And then there's film, and it's sort of like this audience of one. The lens is your audience, and it's so incredibly technical. And so from that first film that I did, I told Dustin, who was the producer on Holiday Spectacular and then the director of A Newport Christmas. I said, please take me under your wing. I will be a sponge. Anything you want to teach me, I am here to learn. I want to soak it all up. So I have every film I've done, I've learned so much, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity that Hallmark has afforded me to sort of also take me under their wing as a film novice. And it's not the normal trajectory for the people who lead these Hallmark movies. Many of them have been leads in very popular series prior to stepping foot on a Hallmark set. So I feel really grateful that they took a chance on me. And this is actually, I don't think this has ever been shared publicly, but something that's really special is pre-pandemic, I was performing with Kristen Chenoweth at her show. It was called For the Girls on Broadway. And I sang Crazy by Patsy Cline because it was one of the songs from her album, or This Big Hot Pink Dress. And Samantha DePippo, who works at Hallmark, who was
Yeah.
sort of behind producing Holiday Spectacular, really enjoyed, I guess, my energy and my performance, and which is so funny because Maggie didn't even sing in Holiday Spectacular, but I guess she thought I was the right look. She wrote my name on a Post-it note and put it on her desk. And then the office is closed for the pandemic and
Yeah.
everything. And fast
Yeah.
forward, literally a year, 2 years later. Yeah, two
Wow.
years later, and she found my name again, like on a Hallmark, not a Hallmark, yeah, a Hallmark Post-it. So it was all sort of meant to be, but happy to be here, learning so much, and in some ways the similarities are that you're still telling stories and bringing characters to life, and hopefully bringing your whole heart into these characters and layering in bits of your own self into these characters so that they're real and grounded, and yeah, just figuring out the technicality of how to do that on film versus stage.
Well, so that I love that. That is amazing to me. I love even that, you had that encounter with her and she sticks this, note over here and it's like this may happen right here. Those meetings when and it's not chance,
Divine,
yeah, how
absolutely.
they play out. So then having done all of that theater work, what would you say are some of the biggest differences in moving over and doing a Hallmark movie?
There's some huge ones. The Broadway show requires the stamina of, mind you, I'm coming to it. The Broadway show I've done is Wicked, but I have done a lot of light theater. But doing 8 shows a week
Yeah.
is sort of this incredible athletic feat in and of itself, especially if it's a musical, because there's all the vocal technique and maintenance behind that. And then just the energetic stamina to do it at a matinee, grab a bite to eat, and then do it all over again and make it just as fresh. Whereas, and there's something sort of fleeting about theater too, right? Like if you come to a Wednesday matinee of Wicked, that version of that show with those people in that room will never happen again. And that is totally magic and can't really be replicated. Film, one of the most unnerving things to me is you do it once. I mean, you get different takes, but you're not going to go back and try it again the next day. So I'm classic me, and I'm working on it. I like get in bed that night and go, oh, what if I had tried this or this? You're getting on set for the first time, and sometimes playing with props for the first time, and you get new ideas. And that's why it's your job as an actor to the night before really go through, or in the weeks prior, really go through and imagine every possible scenario of things that you could play with. Because again, if you do like a joke at a matinee and you're like, oh, I'm going to try this timing, or I'm going to try this
Yeah.
physicality thing, and it doesn't work or it doesn't land, you're like, I could try it again tonight. And that's not the case with film.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's gone, and you have to release it and trust it. And I think the permanence of that moment is sort of sometimes unnerving, that you're like, well, it's gone, and I can never change it, and everybody can see it should they choose to. And but I like that. I like both aspects.
Yeah.
Something else that's drastically different that I want to point out that has also been a learning curve for me is, more often than not, live shows are performed chronologically. I will say in the case of Wicked, there's a moment at the beginning, and then the whole show is sort of a flashback of sorts, and then comes together there at the end. But more or less, everything is happening in order. And in film, it couldn't be happening more out of order. Everything is sort of so disconjointed. With Holiday Spectacular, for example, we filmed the last scene first. So I met Derek Clennon and was like, hi, so nice to meet you. I love you. And then kissing center stage at Radio City, which was so exciting. And then, of course, by the end, when you've like actually become friends and have this rapport, you're like, man, I wish we could go back and do that last scene again. Although I do think that scene is sort of perfect.
It was great.
I had an acting teacher tell me once, a film coach, say, when you ski, you don't go straight to the bottom of the mountain. It's like not ready, set, go. You sort of go to this point, and then you go to this point. He kept saying, go to there, ski to there, ski
Yeah.
to there.
Yeah.
And so instead of focusing on necessarily, the big picture, which we always do need to be thinking about, you're thinking about the next moment, which is true on stage too. You have to be where your feet are. You have to be present in that moment. And in film, you can only focus on creating that moment. I'm sort of a studious type. So for me, one of the first things I do when I get a script now, I write down every scene that I have with my co-star, my significant other. So I can always track, okay, let's say we have 18 scenes together and maybe we kiss in scene 15 or 16. So we're filming scene 3 first, and then we're filming scene 12, and then we're filming scene 19, and then so I can sort of track the chemistry progression, how well we know each other, where we came from, where we're going, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But the doing all out of order, it just feels so discombobulating sometimes, and it really requires you to put your trust in the hands of the editors.
Yeah.
Whereas, when you're on stage, you're going, what you see is what you get. This is not filtered. This is not edited. Maybe they're adding a little reverb or not, but I'm not going to get another take. And, you film all these puzzle pieces and you go, wow, someone's going to put it all together, I guess. Hope it turns out great. And it always does. Especially this film. My goodness. The special effects are so out of this world, and that was really fun for me. I didn't know what that was going to be like. There's a couple scenes we did on blue screens, and you go, what exactly does the Christmas comet look like? Or, oh my goodness, I have to tell you this story. It's not about A Newport Christmas, but there was literally a scene, this is where I got to put my acting training to test, Stephanie, where they had to get a close-up of me, but I was on a horse, but they couldn't get the whole camera crew up high enough to be on a horse. So I had to I was sitting on the ground in a field in sort of this straddle position, pretending I was on a horse,
Yeah.
Anyways, there's theater magic, like Elphaba flying, and then there's movie magic, like flying Christmas comets.
I love it. So you get the script for A Newport Christmas. It's a time travel piece. What's that first thing that really excites you or goes through your mind about doing this period piece, Gilded Age, with all of the special effects, I'm sure? What's the first thing that goes through your mind?
That's such a hard question. Well, if I'm being honest, the first thing that I thought about was the costumes, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
I'll say, from the moment the movie starts, you are transported to the Gilded Age, which is, this magical time. post all of these magnificent inventions, and it's where I come from too. It's an incredibly lavish home and designs and sets and my petticoats and corsets and hats and gloves, and that's such a fun way to sort of step into a character. And I loved the challenge of figuring out the manners and the rhythm of speech and the way she would move and sort of operate in society relationally with different people, and that was so exciting for me. And I loved The Time Traveler's Wife as a kid. I love
Yes.
history, I love sci-fi, and it sort of just combined all of these fascinations for me. So right away, I was incredibly honored that they trusted me with the role and incredibly excited to step into Ella's shoes. So yeah, we just had the best time making it too. It was my first time being paired with sort of a Hallmark staple like Wes Brown.
Yeah.
He this was his, I believe, depends on which site you reference, his 22nd or 23rd
It's
Hallmark
yeah.
film,
Yeah.
and he's been a friend of mine for years, and I had always kind of called him like my Hallmark big brother. I felt like he was always kind of looking out for me. We're like the East Coasters of the crew, and he's someone I could always call if I had a question or yeah, just mostly a question. He was always looking out for me. So we've had a lovely relationship for years, and so it was a ball just to step on set with him, and we combed through the script pretty thoroughly in advance, and that was a good time. And then just seeing these, the text is so good, the script is so fantastic, and you imagine it in a certain way on in your mind as you're reading it, and then to get on set of this, for example, the Grafton Estate is this remarkably stunning mansion right on the water where we filmed in Buffalo. We filmed in both Buffalo
Yeah.
and Newport.
Yeah.
And in some ways you let the sets do their job and all you have to
Yeah.
do is trust the text and say the words because it really is so well done. The premise is so smart that yeah, you can just be honest and really live it. And you know it's fun to sit back and ask yourself the question, what would it look like if somebody from 120 years ago stepped foot in today and saw all of our
Yeah.
technological advances
Yeah.
and paper cups and lady bosses and women in pants, and what would that be like? And sort of her almost naivete but sense of wonder was so fun to step into. And I think Wes had a really challenging part, and that he had to sort of, at first think I'm cuckoo, like this couldn't possibly
Yeah.
be right, try to discredit me,
Yeah.
and then slowly come to terms with the fact that maybe this could be real, whilst also maybe developing feelings for me. I feel like he had a pretty interesting arc journey to go on, and sort of to react to all of my antics, and he did such a good job sort of grounding me and grounding the different situations and making the magic feel so real.
So to add to that, your character Ella, she goes from 1905, drops into 2025. How did you kind of make that shift in going, okay, I'm going to drop into 2025 and not, and I've got to make this feel like I have no idea about anything about modern day. So how did you kind of prepare for that shift?
Totally. Even as I'm sitting right now, I find myself wanting to go, whew, and sit up straight
Yeah.
and to really align myself. And that was one of the things that I thought was so important for Ella. I think, she was raised in a certain way by her parents. And I would go work out every morning because I wanted to be aligned in a certain way. I was always trying to do Pilates or some kind of strength training. And then when I shifted into my more contemporary costumes, I asked our genius costume director, our designer, Keith Nielsen, who I've worked with before as well, if I could keep my corset on because I still wanted that feeling of being held and being aligned in a certain way, because that's not something that would go away. That
That's so good.
she was built and the way she would
Yeah.
move. And
Yeah.
um, I think it was really important to me. I didn't want it to seem. I think it was really important to me. I wanted it to feel real. I didn't want it to feel kitschy. I didn't want it to feel um, cheesy at all. I wanted it to feel a little gut-wrenching. I told So something I really loved about working with Dustin is he would give us a couple of takes where we would sort of do things as scripted and as directed. And then he would always, more so than any other film experience I've had, because he's so on top of scheduling and things, we would always have chance to do sort of a play take, if you will.
Yeah.
We could try something different emotionally or physically. And I remember more often than not, he really liked what I would do on the improv takes. And a lot of it made it into the film, which was super fun for me to see. There's a scene where she's typing on the keyboard and I say, why is this alphabet all out of order? Like how unnerving would that be? Like I'm supposed to use this device and these letters are scattered everywhere. It doesn't make any sense. So fun things like that. But there was one scene where I'm coming into the Grafton estate for the first time in the future, and I got really emotional because I was like, actually, how unsettling would it be to be back in your home and nobody's there and it's been turned into a museum and all these, like, I think I got a little verklempt, and he was like, no, let's go back to the other direction. So we redirected, but I think I was just allowing, like, what would that really feel like to be like, oh my gosh, my dad is gone, and everyone who takes care of me, and all the things that are familiar and lovely, and this place where I was just there an hour ago.
Yeah.
And what are all these people doing here? And what would that happen? What would that be like in real life? Would it make you sad? Would it make you mad? Would it just make you sort of stunned? And yeah, there was lots of opportunity for play in that, but I wanted it to all feel real.
Yeah. As real as time travel can be, right?
Real as time travel can be. Absolutely.
Ella finds herself on a boat. Nick is on the boat. How would you describe Ella and Nick's first meeting?
Ooh, I have to say, this meet cute is a very surprising one, and maybe one of the juiciest the juiciest I've ever seen, had experienced. And again, talk about unnerving to be sailing your ship and turn around and realize that despite the fact that you're in the middle of the water, silently somebody else has appeared on board on the other end of the ship. And I'm telling you, like, don't give me a prop if you don't want to want me to
Yeah.
use it, because that paddle, became a very exciting storytelling device for me, to sort of wield that around. Yeah, that was such fun to film. And some of the boat scenes were filmed on a blue screen, and some of them were actually filmed in the middle of the water, which was so fun. It wasn't quite as windy as we wanted it to be, but I actually got to sail a sailboat. And something I want you to know, because it's not seen on camera, the men who owned the boat, they, really taught me they taught me how to use the ropes, taught me the ropes. And also these knots that I had to do. You see several times I go and I tie and I untie things. And it was really important to me, Stephanie, the things actors cling to. We're not, I'm telling you. But I was like, I have to be able to tie this knot without looking. It's really important to me. So I would practice, we'd be like on break and I'd be over there like practicing my knots without looking. You can't ever see me tying a knot. You only ever see my back. But I wanted you to know that I was diligently ready for that to be on camera. This is her boat. This is what she does all the time. This is her favorite pastime, is to sail. It's her escape. And so I didn't want pro sailors to be watching me going, that girl has no idea what she's doing. I did a lot of sailing classes when I was a kid, but it had been a minute. I was rusty.
Yeah. She takes it very seriously, guys.
Yeah.
Even down to tying the ropes, right?
Down to the knots. Down to the
So this movie moves between two very different time periods. Did you find yourself drawn? I think I might know the answer. More to the 1905 or more to that modern day story for Ella?
I know, I already told you, I think I was born in the wrong era. And you watch enough Gilded Age and you're like, oh, this is so
I
quaint.
know.
Maybe I should have been alive then. I feel like in both centuries, you see these characters looking for meaning and belonging, regardless of what the world looks like around them. And even if the world looks different than the one that they know.
Yeah.
And also I feel like something that we sort of zero in on are these timeless values, things that were highly esteemed in 1905, whether that be slowing down or kindness or generosity or family traditions and sort of the timelessness of those values and how important they are, 120 years later.
Yeah.
I really liked playing with both. Yeah, I mean, those costumes, come on. I wanted to take them home with
Did
me.
you have a favorite? Did you have a favorite?
Oh, a favorite costume?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so this applies to the question too. Just playing within these different centuries. Spoiler alert. We have a ball in 2025 and then we have a ball in 1905 and I had a different dress for both. And one was custom by Keith and it was so fun to wear those dresses and sort of have a more modern contemporary feel to one that's still sort of inspired by
Yeah.
water and the wind and waves, you'll see. And then to go back and have sort of more traditional garb, that was also just fun and transportive. But I love that custom gown is sort of hard to beat. I wish I could have taken it home with me. I wish I was wearing it right now for our podcast.
I would love that. Maybe you'll be able to borrow it from Keith, right?
Totally.
It's in some closet now.
Oh my gosh, if you saw Holiday Spectacular, he also
I did.
custom made that dress for the finale of that, and that's one I'd love to squeeze back into as well because wow, that dress was so pretty. Oh,
Yeah, he's very talented, very
he's so
talented.
gifted. He really is.
So Ella, your character, there's a lot at stake for her. So the whole idea of she can't erase her own legacy back in 1905 if she stays too long in the present. So how did you play that pull between wanting to stay and knowing she has to go back?
Stephanie, I love that you touched on this, and I feel like it's something that sets this apart from maybe other love story is it really does feel like high stakes storytelling. It's not
Yeah.
just like, oh, maybe I'll go back to the big city or maybe I won't, or maybe I'll quit my job or maybe I won't. It's like I have this legacy to uphold and I have this responsibility to my community and my Newport and to my family and even sort of the legacy of what I think my mother would have wanted me to do and this calling that is so deeply rooted in her DNA and then also this very real connection and there's a scene on the dock that is so, I mean, I think it feels real. It was a gut-wrenching scene to film, but it feels so gut-wrenching because the stakes are so high and ultimately like what is right. And I think you see her at war within herself. In 2025, you see one moment she's going, okay, great, I have to go back, I have to do this thing, and then going, but how could I possibly? Because Wes
Yeah.
Brown. So it was a really exciting journey to go on and um, a really fun dynamic arc to play.
You guys actually got to shoot in Newport
Yeah.
down at the wharf. How
hmm
important was it to you to have those moments actually in Newport?
It was my first time there. And I kept trying to think about how this is all very familiar to her. This is her home. But it was really special to actually be on the ground there. And a lot of the scenes that we did outside were on a particularly windy, blustery, chilly day in Newport, which definitely fit
Yeah.
The Christmas vibes that we were going for. And then I think something else that was really special and important is that our remarkable production team, Dustin and Andrew, they went and filmed in Newport this past Christmas, so Christmas 2024, all these aerial shots of Newport actually decorated for the holidays and so I think it makes a lot of those transitional moments really magical because that's not special effects. That's really
Yeah.
Newport looks like modern day. And Newport is sort of its own character in this film. The way the light reflects on the water and the architecture and the decorations. It's like stepping into a Christmas card. And so I'm really glad that we actually got to be there. And then something that's really cool is Buffalo, our other filming location, has really incredible architecture. I was on tour there with Wicked a number of years ago at Shays, and I remember then being sort of blown away by just how beautiful of a city Buffalo is and how, yeah, remarkable their buildings are. And it's so cool that we got to use a lot of that for our sets.
Yeah, I was really when I talked with Dustin, I've been to Newport, love it. And again, it's like its own character. Seeing
Absolutely.
all of those mansions on the water, and he had shared that they went in early because when they're so that team is so committed to elevating these Hallmark projects,
100%.
with not a Netflix budget, right? So what do? We go in before Christmas
But it's
and
going to look like a Netflix budget,
yeah, and
especially
we
with Dustin
get
behind the camera.
yeah, we get 1,000 people at Christmas time at the Wharf, and we can use that. But then I didn't know. I mean, I always hear Buffalo, New York, and I think of industry. And he's like, there are these magnificent buildings,
Magnificent.
and so I'm so excited to see that part of it as well. So
Yeah. And it was fun and nostalgic for me to be back in Buffalo and be like, oh, that's where my Airbnb is and or
yeah,
was and that's where we'd go get meals between shows. And it was really sweet. Talia and Evan, some other cast members, and Wes and I went to go see a show while we on our day off when we were in Buffalo. We saw Shucked. I had some friends in the show and it was really fun to go see a musical.
that's awesome. So do you have a favorite moment that we will see? I know you can't share too much, but in the movie?
Well, I feel like I talked about the balls. I love the balls, especially the 1905 ball. And um, I when I think back on it, I think about I got to watch the movie and I was definitely delighted by it. And so some of those comedic moments I know I talked about when she's interacting with the computer and there's he talks about grabbing the mouse to toggle something on the browser and I was like, mouse! Like she thinks, in our midst there's an actual mouse. And the things that the things are just commonplace now. Like
Yeah.
oat milk, and she says milked oats. How does one milk an oat? I have to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people.
Do it.
Jen Aspen was one of our creative producers, and I've had the joy of working with her before, but she's just such a collaborator, and I loved having her eye on every moment. We had an incredible hair and makeup team. Um, and then this might be silly, but the man who played Santa Claus, his name is Truman, and he is the best Santa I have ever met. And I go to Macy's every year, but Truman, just like the sparkliest blue eyes you've ever seen, and just the sweetest tender heart. And we were emailing just last week, so yeah, like stay tuned. Look for Truman and the actual North Pole twinkle in his eye. Favorite moment, just every time I got to be on set with Wes Brown. We had such a good time together. The boat scenes were all really fun, and I liked getting to ride in a horse and carriage and, getting to do the things that felt so
Yeah.
of the time. The man who played my father, there was lots of Broadway connections, but he previously played the Phantom of the Opera. So we were singing lots of Andrew Lloyd Webber between takes, and Evan and Talia, our other co-stars, they are both Broadway performers too. So it's really sweet having that tie of the theater film connection. And yes, definitely lots of singing happening offset or off camera. And because Ella doesn't sing in this movie. But speaking of singing, if it's okay, I'd love to tell you about a song that Wes and I actually recorded. Is now an okay time?
Do it.
Okay, so I'm gonna back up. Our friend Donna Stewart, knew about the premise of this film because she's one of my best friends, and I knew about her characters, and she's an incredible songwriter, and I've recorded some of her music in the past. And she sent me this song inspired by the movie. And sometimes in the past, when she sent me a song, it'll be just like a piece, like maybe just a verse or just a chorus. And I think she kind of had this whole thing from the beginning in her head and sent me a voice memo of her just snapping and singing along a cappella. Hello, do I know you? It feels like we've met before. And I loved it right away. I sent it to Wes and I was like, oh, this was late one night after we'd finished filming. And I was like, what do you think? Do you like this? Would you want to record this? And he's recorded music before, and he loves to sing, and he has big Broadway aspirations himself. And he said in his own words that he was on the treadmill and had to stop. He had to stop. He had to get off the treadmill and just go in the corner and listen to it over and over again. And emailed me or texted me back the most enthusiastic response, how he felt about the song and how much he wished to be a part of it. And he was like, are you asking me, is this real? Or
Yeah.
so we finished filming beginning of April, and just a few weeks later we went to Nashville, which is my hometown, and we recorded with my favorite producer Nathan Knuckles, and Donna Stewart flew in for it, and our friend Rachel Hallback, and we made a little Christmas magic on top of our other Christmas magic this past spring, and it comes out today. And I'm so excited for people to hear it. And it's not in the film, but it's definitely inspired by the story, thus a timeless Christmas. A love for the ages, a love that transcends time.
I love that. And I had asked Dustin, I'm like, you've got Ginna Claire and you've got Wes. There's got to be music. And he's like, there's not. But now there is.
There is. No, there definitely was not a place in the film for these
Yeah.
characters to be singing. And and sometimes I love I got to do a Carol for Two last year, and I got to sing a lot, and that was
Yes.
a blast. But sometimes it's fun
One
to.
of my favorites of 2024, by the way.
Aw, thank you. I loved that movie too.
Yeah.
That was another what felt like a very collaborative effort. There was lots of Broadway people involved in it, and I felt like they really um, called upon us to share some of our expertise, whether that was the way certain things were worded or how we went about, certain dialogue and songs and things. And so that was super sweet. Anyways, I love a movie where I don't have to sing. I'm like, thank you for just letting me rely on my acting
Yeah.
storytelling and not having to open my mouth to sing a note. But I love that music did come out of this story because I do think it's that kind of romance that inspires music.
I love that. That's so cool. So, A Newport Christmas, there's this Hallmarky feel. We know we're going to show up for every, Hallmark movie, and it's going to feel a certain way. But beyond that sweet holiday story, what do you hope people take away from Ella's journey and this story?
Oh, that's a really good question. I told Stephanie before we ever started that she has the most thoughtful, intentional, generous question asking, and I'm really grateful for that.
And I told her I'm going to start every morning with her because she just is the most encouraging person ever.
Oh, you. You know, this is what I'll say. There's some things about Ella, and I'd say with every character, there's overlap. You go, okay, well, I can bring this to this character because that is so of, part of who I am. And then there's other things that you see in characters that you play that you're like, wow, I really admire that about that character, and I want to take that piece of Ella with me.
Yeah.
And I do think she's incredibly compassionate. From the very first scene, you see her putting her eyes on those around her and going, how can I help you? How can I be here for you? How can I do something to make your day better? How can I craft something to keep you warm or give you something that is going to fill your belly or make your holidays brighter? And definitely that sort of generosity is not just of the season. It's something we should be able to take into our lives every day, having Ella's eyes to see those around you. And you see her do that with strangers, and then you see that, with Talia's character. It's really funny because Ella has inspired her to be this sort of lady boss. And then in the future, when Ella meets her, she's really inspired by so much of who she is and how she operates in her day to day and carries herself as a professional and as a woman in modern day society. So it's sort of it goes both ways, right? So like you said, encouraging, like lifting up others around you and seeing the gifts of the giftings of those around you and calling them out, especially woman to woman. And I yeah, and then like if you love a nautical moment, I just think we made so many jokes about boats. There was boats everywhere. There were lots of boat decor. I just bought some boat pajamas. We're you and me, Stephanie, we're about to go on a boat. We're gonna go on the Hallmark cruise. I think we're supposed
Yeah.
to call it a ship. But I really do think there's something for everyone. You know, I think initially you'll be wowed by the lush costumes and sets, but I think you'll stay for the heart of this story. And as I've mentioned, Wes is just such a warm and wonderful person, but also really generous, gracious scene partner. And I think you'll see that we both put our whole hearts into this story and into these characters. And yeah, I just think people are really gonna love it. And I hope it's a new holiday favorite, you know, from the people I've talked to who have watched the screener. I think people are really excited about it. And then that's been so sweet and encouraging for me to hear. And I'm just honored to have been part of it and to have stepped in Ella's sweet little boots.
And Dustin has shared that there may be some, it may be a little bit of an unexpected story, that there may be some.
Totally. Well, you hear A Newport Christmas and you're like, this could be about anything. This
Mhm.
could be set in any time period. I definitely think people will be surprised.
Ah, so exciting. So you mentioned the boat. We've got a cruise coming up.
We
This is
sure
your
do, Stephanie.
first.
Let's
I
go.
know.
Stephanie, this time next week, I think we're gonna be almost to Cozumel or
Almost.
in Cozumel.
Yeah. On the middle of the water, right?
Yeah.
And it'll be a lot warmer there than it is here, which I'm also stoked about. So this is your first one.
This is my first Hallmark cruise. Is this your first one?
It's my first Hallmark cruise.
Yeah.
Did you, because this is what I've been doing, did you ask the people that have been before what to expect and what you're most excited about?
Absolutely. I was calling everyone. I was calling Jonathan Bennett um and Wes and I made a text thread with all the girls going on the boat. Spoiler alert, I got us all matching jammies. So all the girls were the I think I called it the cruise girlies, but we're on a
I
text
love it.
thread. We're planning. There's definitely lots to look forward to. There's some scheduled things that people know about. There's going to be some surprise things that I'm really excited about. And one moment in particular that I don't want to give too much away, but it's probably going to be a musical moment. And I'm excited. I'm gonna wear some. I have McDougal is sending me some really cute dresses that I'm gonna wear. And yeah, I just think it's gonna be the best time.
Yeah. I don't know what I think. I'm such a planner. I haven't planned, and maybe that's okay.
And
But I think just being around, how many people are on this boat? There's going to be a lot of people on this boat, right?
I think it's between 4,500 and 5,000. It's
Yeah.
somewhere in that range. But I agree, you know, that's kind of the joy of a cruise is that you
Yeah.
can show up and just enjoy. Everything is sort of planned for you. So I'm in the midst of a move right now. So I actually think it's going to be an amazing break to, you know,
Yes.
take a break from unpacking boxes and just, you know, myself go on the ship, go on the cruise, along for the ride. I'm gonna really enjoy the structure of scheduled, exciting content with all of my Hallmark family because you probably know Stephanie, but I have to tell you, these Hallmark people are sort of not to be believed, just the real deal. And amongst the creatives and the talent, it's just the most humble, hilarious, down to earth group of people you'll ever meet. And so the chance to get to spend time together is like a family reunion, but better. Everything just feels so elevated and so sparkly and exciting. And there's genuine love all around. So I think it's going to be the best time, and I feel like grateful to experience that up close. And I'm glad people who are a fan of the network can see, in an up close way how much we all love each other and being together.
Yeah. That's evident, talking with so many of you that it just, it's just an environment that feels good. People that are there for the right reasons, that care about what they're doing, that transcends on this side of it when we get to watch the projects that you do. So, but it's just a whole nother level of just fun, that engagement when you can actually be with the people and say, oh, I loved your movie and you're so nice. And, so having done some of those events, it's like it's going to be fun. We're going to have a blast.
I have to say, the only event I've really done like that was Hallmark Christmas Experience, and I think I knew how much people loved Hallmark and why, and it wasn't until I got to shake the hands and of people and hug
Yeah.
hundreds of people that this network has really impacted in a profound way, to say, we were going through this illness or this loss, and you were the friends that were with me in my living room. It's such an incredible honor. And then the holidays are such a special time of year. And again, what an honor to be in the homes of people, and that they invite us alongside them to celebrate through
Yeah.
through the Christmas season. And so I'm really proud to be a part of this network. I think it's a network that genuinely cares about its people, everyone who's a part of the network, and the fans, and it's a joy. It's an absolute joy.
You get to go back for the second time to the Hallmark Christmas experience, your weekend too, which is like package wise is sold out. How
Yes.
exciting is that?
But I think that's what I was like, oh, it's sold out. Nobody else can come. And that's not true. The
That's not
packages are
true.
all sold out, but there are still tickets. But I think weekend two, I think sold out like right away. I have to admit, I'm part of an incredible lineup there. So I was weekend two last year
Yeah.
as well, and I think weekend two is maybe the best weekend. So I'm looking forward to being back in Kansas City with everyone. I think it's going to be an absolute ball.
Yeah, and there, like you said, you can still get individual tickets if they want to come to like the Stars on Stage panel, things like that. They can still do that. So that's amazing.
Yes, I want to pull up the list because I don't want to miss anyone. But I think we're gonna have like a musical night there, and that's gonna be really fun. Okay, here it is. Andrew Walker, Brennan Elliott, me, Jonathan Bennett, Lacey Chabert, Melissa Peterman, Niall Matter, Nikki DeLoche, Tamara Mowry Housley, Warren Christie, and Wes Brown. I mean, it's gonna be so much fun.
Love it.
And some of those people I've spent a lot of time with. A few of them I've never met before, and some I've only spent a little bit of time with, and I'm so excited to get to know them more. Like Tamara, I met last year at Countdown to Christmas, and like instant sparks, and I haven't gotten to see
Yeah.
her since then, but I'm really excited too. And Andrew Walker, he's like a brother. He's like the best, and Nikki's the sister that I call when I have questions. And I'd oh my gosh, quick story about Nikki. I got to sing the national anthem at the Red Sox game this
Yeah.
summer, and
Yeah.
I've told her, but what I will remember most about that experience is the way she not sauntered, but sprinted over to me after I finished singing the last note and just wrapped me up and whispered encouraging words into my ears about like how proud she was and how she's such an encouraging light in the land, and I'm so grateful for her. She's someone again who's taken me under her wing since the beginning, so incredibly grateful for this whole crew. So weekend two.
Isn't it amazing though? You've done the theater and now you kind of shift over and do some of the Hallmark stuff too. And it's great to do the projects, but when you're surrounded by those people that just like take you in and like you've got that family
Yeah. And then there's
amongst
people like
you.
Jonathan Bennett who made his Broadway debut last year, and I got to go, after being his sort of Hallmark friend, got to go cheer him on in New York on a Broadway stage, which was a dream come true for him, and such a joy to, watch your friend shine in that way.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for A Newport Christmas to come out on Sunday night, what's a project that we should go check out of yours?
Ooh.
I know it's like picking a favorite.
I
And
have I have a Hallmark, not a Hallmark. I have everything's Hallmark. I have a Christmas EP that I recorded last year. It's just 4 songs. I think you can listen to the whole thing in 12 minutes. And I'm really proud of it. And it's about quality, not quantity. That's what
yeah,
I had the budget for. And I got to accomplish it in a way that I'm really proud of with a lot of the elements that were really important to me, especially the team behind it. And yeah, I love that little EP, and I love that it's something we can pull out every holiday season. And I hope it's something that really blesses people.
you're-
So Timeless Christmas comes out tonight. Newport Christmas comes out. Or maybe I should say the dates. Maybe that's better because it's a podcast. But Timeless Christmas out October 31st. Newport Christmas out November 2nd. And then something exciting and special that I'm not allowed to say yet comes out November 3rd.
coming up
Yeah.
like
Yes.
very soon.
Monday. It's an action-packed sort of weekend, next few days, but this is the only hint I'll give you. I'm pretending like I'm an airplane flying. There's my kind of
Interesting.
So I see I didn't give anything away and I didn't speak any words about it, but November 3rd, tune in to something.
Interesting.
I think
Okay.
this is like a really special family collaboration that I could have honestly never dreamed up, and it's almost too good to be true.
Okay. Okay. Well, you heard it here, everybody. So we've got a Newport Christmas that is coming out on November 2nd, 8, 7 Central. It's on Hallmark. Canadian friends, it's on the W Network. W Network. The next morning, you guys can watch it on Hallmark Plus. This has been a blast. What a great way to start my day. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to see the movie. Maybe to give you a hug on the cruise.
Absolutely, Stephanie.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Ginna Claire, for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.